The ship settled onto the black sands, its landing thrusters hissing like a dying beast. Beyond the dunes, the temple loomed in ruins, half submerged in the planet's nameless sea. The air carried the scent of salt and something faintly metallic. From the moment they arrived, PERIN felt uneasy. The others, Rhea, Lorne, Miko, and Jace, were laughing, setting up a small camp near the temple's entrance. They were the privileged few, wealthy enough to own their own ship, flitting across the stars for amusement. This was just another indulgence, another secret place to call their own for a night. PERIN sat apart, watching as the two couples leaned into each other, whispering between bites of their synthetic meals. The fire crackled, casting erratic shadows over the dunes. They had brought everything, premium rations, fine liquor, but PERIN had no appetite. He had always been the fifth wheel, tolerated but never truly included. He pulled up the images he had stolen from his father's terminal, ancient, grainy shots of the temple before it had begun sinking. His father had never mentioned this place, but PERIN had found the coordinates buried in restricted files, hidden beneath layers of security. His father had known something. He had kept it secret, but PERIN had chosen this destination himself, drawn to the mystery, eager to uncover what had been hidden. And now, PERIN was here. As the others fell into their predictable rhythms of indulgence, PERIN retrieved his diving suit. "I'm checking it out," he said, but no one responded. Lorne and Rhea were tangled in each other's arms, while Miko had slid onto Jace's lap, their murmurs lost to the waves. PERIN clenched his jaw, grabbed a scanner, and slipped into the water. The descent was effortless. The water, though pitch black from above, darkened as he swam downward. Then the temple's entrance loomed ahead, and something strange happened. The deeper he went, the more clearly he could see. But there was no light source. The water itself wasn't glowing, yet everything around him was illuminated. He navigated through collapsed corridors, brushing past faded murals, twisting, elongated figures reaching towards something unseen. Then, deep within the temple's belly, he found it, a hidden chamber, sealed from time and tides. The water stopped at its threshold, as if repelled. PERIN surfaced into dry air, gasping in disbelief. Though there was no visible light source, the entire room shimmered with an unnatural glow, illuminating intricate carvings along the walls. At its center, on an altar of smooth black stone, sat a statue. It was small, no larger than his forearm, carved from a mineral he couldn't identify. The figure was abstract, shifting as he stared at it, sometimes humanoid, sometimes a writhing mass, sometimes nothing at all. Despite himself, PERIN reached out and took it. A shiver crawled through his bones. He exhaled, forcing himself to move. He walked around with the statue in hand, his fingers tracing its surface. Something gnawed at his nerves, an unshakable feeling of being watched. He walked around with the statue in hand, then set the statue down on the ground. He turned back toward the exit, eager to bring the others. Emerging from the depths, he dragged himself onto the sand, his pulse still unsteady. The fire crackled in the distance. His friends were still at it, limbs entwined, laughter rolling between heated breaths. "Guys, you need to see this." No response. He stepped closer. Their bodies had begun to shift, skin darkening, stretching, merging. Rhea's fingers had elongated into wet tendrils that curled around Lorne's spine, fusing them together. Miko's face split into a gaping maw, rows of teeth lining her dissolving lips as she pressed against Jace. Their eyes were gone, replaced with hollow pits that wept a black, glistening substance. PERIN staggered back, bile rising in his throat. "What?" What had been Rhea, lifted her head, an unnatural snap of movement. Her body jerked forward, too many limbs shifting beneath her, bones rearranging with grotesque efficiency. PERIN ran. He hit the water, kicking down into the depths. His only thought was to reach the chamber. It had been safe. He could shut himself inside. He swam through the submerged corridors, breath burning in his chest. The light of the hidden chamber beckoned. He surfaced, gasping, and found himself inside the chamber. For a moment, relief flooded him. But something was wrong. The air was thick, humming with an unseen force. The carvings on the walls pulsed, shifting like living things. The statue was gone. Then, in the space of a blink, he was outside the temple, his breath caught in his throat. The dunes stretched before him. His helmet felt suffocating. Trembling, he lifted his hands and unlatched it, pulling it free. The air was thick, electric with an unseen presence. The sky above swirled in impossible colors, a vortex of shifting hues and fractured light. Then the thing emerged. It towered above the world, its mass writhing, shifting, breaking itself apart, only to reassemble into new, incomprehensible forms. Its appendages stretched beyond sight, its bulk coiling into the stormed sky. Its head, if it could be called that, was lost in the clouds, an unseen force pressing down on everything below. PERIN stared, his vision blurred, his eyes burned, then melted. He screamed, but only briefly. The pain was distant now, swallowed by something deeper. He fell to his knees, hands trembling, reaching toward it. The thing had always been here, always waiting. He understood now. There was no escape, no need for one. His lips parted, a whisper escaping into the hollow air. A name, not his own, and then he bowed.